What's up, YouTube? This is Vernacular TV. If you like the content that I'm producing, please like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. The narratives are being written within the news media outlet, Western news media outlets, that Russia is about to invade Ukraine, and the conversation, the drums of war, of potential war between Russia and Ukraine is being waged within the conversation of international and geostrategic politics. Russia feared that Nato is continuing to expand eastward since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1989 and the dissolution of the empire, the Soviet Empire. Russia have lost immense power to Europe and the West. So Russia is trying to gain power back on Vladimir Putin. We all know with the annexation of Crimea that Russia is back on the scene of power politics within global context. Russia feels that NATO is expanding eastward from all previous Russia, Soviet Union, from all previous Soviet satellite states like Czechoslovakia, Estonia, Latvia, Poland, Latvia. All these nations now is under the banner of NATO. So Russia feels like the United States and NATO is expanding rapidly, and the putting a ballistic missile, intercontinental ballistic missile in those nations pose a threat to Russian national security. On the European side, they feel like Russia is expanding in its military aggression and in its military application. As we saw within Syria, the intervention of Russia in Syria shifted the conflict dramatically in favor of Bashar Assad and pushed back against the narrative that was being put forward by the United States and its European partners as it relates to Bashar Assad. So Russia is back on the global scene. But what's going on in Ukraine is that Russia feel like that Ukraine is a part of Russia's sphere of influence. From a historical point, Ukraine is a part of Russia's sphere of influence and is right on Russia's doorstep. So national security is very important to Russia. But NATO is very suspected of Russia evasion into other European nations. The gas politics also play a huge factor in Russian relation with Europe. During the wintertime in Europe is very cold, and Russian gas is very crucial for many European oil conglomerations to continue business and serving the European people during the wintertime to help heating up their homes. So Russia is very important in that politics. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline between Russia and Germany also playing a factor as to how Russia is seen with its relationship with its European neighbors. Germany feel like if the United States sanctioned the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, it's counterproductive to what they're trying to achieve. So everybody's politicking, all these countries, all these nations are politicking for their better behalf. But Russia feel like NATO is expanding eastward, taking over all these nations and making these nations a part of NATO, which pose a threat to Russian national security. Because if Ukraine becomes a part of NATO, Russia feel like it will pose a huge threat. So that possibility of war between Russia and Ukraine is there. But I think Vladimir Putin is just using it as a tactics to the West to let them know, Russia is taking its national security very serious. The placing of intercontinental ballistic missiles in different NATO states, Russia feel like it poses a threat to its national security. So if Ukraine becomes a part of NATO, that would just change the dynamic of Russia's political strategic political and strategic positioning between Russia and Europe.